Hey everyone, I'm Samantha Dirks and welcome to my first YouTube video ever. What up? Okay, I do really weird things and I'm nervous, so you're gonna have to get used to that. I got my coffee here with me because I wanted to make this video kind of like a sit down, like coffee time, because I love going out for coffee with friends and like talking, like I just love hanging out with friends. And so I thought, why don't I add that into the video? Right now where I'm living, we actually can only hang out with people in our household. So it's like actually like so crazy. I can only hang out with my parents because of COVID-19. But I'm doing it. Got some school to distract me from this pandemic, so that's great. But I feel like I've been called just to like sit down and tell you guys my life story, and it's kind of just like a, you know, if you go out for coffee with a friend, you like talk to them lots about their life and your life and just like catch up and stuff. Well, you're gonna hear my whole life story. I mean, not every single part because that's like would take so long to do, but the big stuff in it you're gonna hear. So this is really nerve-wracking because like, I don't know, like sharing your life story and being vulnerable on the internet and just like, I don't know, this is just scary. Like imagine putting yourself in my shoes and like just sitting in front of a camera like, hey guys. No, it's gonna be great. I have no idea why I am making this video. Like I do, but I feel like God's been calling me to lately. It's been like a few months and I'm like, he's like, Samantha, like you're gonna share your story, like, and I'm like, God, like no, like what? I'm like, that is scary. Can you please ask like someone else to do that? Or I'm like, can you ask me something like to do something else than that, rather than that? Because it's like, this is scary. But that's okay. I'm here doing it. Here I am, God. I'm all yours. So let's just get into it. So as I mentioned before, I felt like I was supposed to make this video, and I'm still not sure why. I mean, I'm sure God has a plan, and maybe it'll touch one of you out there listening and speak to you or encourage you to share your story with people. I'm not really sure, but I'm here. I'm about to be really vulnerable with you guys. This is just my story, and I know everyone has a story, of course. And I just want to encourage you guys to like go out there and share your story with people. And anyways, this video is gonna be all over the place because I've never done this before. But like I was saying, my story might not be like super crazy to you or whatever, but this is my life and I've been called to share my story, so that's what I'm doing. And I pray that this will touch you in some way or the other, and or just get to know me better, whatever it is. Alright, so I grew up in a Christian home, and I have two parents and I have an older brother, and they're so great. They're so loving and caring, and I've been very blessed to have the family that I have. And so as I was growing up, I like just kind of went under my parents' wing, as any kid does, and I just like believed what my parents believed, and I just did like everything they did, because that's pretty normal to not question what your parents believe at such a young age. So I would go to church with them, and I would go to youth group because they dropped me off there, you know. And just like a little bit of knowledge of what we believe, just so you kind of know, understand. we were Christians, and we believe that Jesus came to earth and died on the cross for our sins. And just like, how stinking amazing is that? Like, he died for my sins before I was even alive, and I even like sinned, you know? Like, that is so much love, and the fact that we all can receive that love and forgiveness, and that just like blows me away. Like, wow. Anyways, so I did what my parents kind of did, went to church, prayed before dinner, prayed before bed, did all that stuff. Wasn't really understanding what being a Christian was, just because I was younger and I never really thought about what that meant, or I kind of just like, it was just my life. I went with it and it was great. But when I got into middle school, I would say I kind of started to like think about it a little bit more. I would like start to read my Bible on my own without my parents reading it to me. I went to these like retreats and I'd feel like super on fire for God, and like I was gonna change the world, and I just wanted to like make a big difference. And I found that like when I went home and I got back into my regular routine again, it kind of just died out, and never thought about it again really until the next retreat I'd go on. It was just like a constant cycle of that. And then, so this is like a crazy part of my story where it kind of began for me to really realize what kind of God I was serving and what kind of God loved me, and how it blew me away. But my family was really drawn to the mountains, and so we really wanted to live in Kelowna, British Columbia. That's in Canada here. And it's like gorgeous out there, so beautiful. And we all wanted to live there. God had put on my dad's heart to like move his family out there. So we were living in Brandon, and we sold our house. We had no house. We went out to our cabin. We lived out there for the summer, which was very normal. We lived out there like pretty much every summer anyways. But instead it was like we didn't go home at all. It was like that was our house. And so the end of the summer kind of came, and he felt like, okay, like you're gonna move your family now. So basically we moved the next day, like, or 2 days after, sorry. And we kind of like packed up all our stuff, said bye to all our friends in Brandon. And at the cabin, we said bye to everyone. Everyone was like, what the heck? Like, where are you going? Like, do you have a place to live? Like, do you have jobs? Do you have school? And we're like, nope. Anyways, we just went for it. We drove out there, lived at we lived at my mom's sister's house. Lived in her basement, so my aunt and uncle. We lived in their basement for a while, and it was like super great. They're like so kind for letting us like live there, which is like crazy. And so my parents like tried to find jobs right away, and we were trying to find a house. And currently when we went there was like a strike for like teachers in public schools. Like all of them were just on strike. So my brother and I weren't able to enroll in school. So my parents decided to put us into a private school, so because they were on strike there. So we went to a private Christian school, and I made lots of friends right away. I was kind of like just starting to connect with everyone, and my brother was like on a hockey team. He wasn't finding like as many friends out there, just because they weren't as like involved in sports as he was, and it wasn't as easy for him to connect with them. And my parents were trying to find jobs and trying to find houses, and like they were working so hard on doing that, and like trying to start our lives out there. And we just like everything, doors just kept shutting and shutting and shutting. It's It's like God saying, no, you're not gonna live here anymore. Just like crazy. And then one day my dad got a call and they said, you have to come back to Brandon and write this exam for a course he had taken like a long time ago. Super random. And we're like, what the heck are we gonna do? My mom's like, I am not staying in Kelowna with our kids alone. Like, I don't know, like that just seems hard. Oh, this is a crazy part. So I didn't know that we were going back to Brandon until it was like a Friday afternoon. I got picked up from school and my mom comes to me, she's like just leave everything in your locker. I was like, okay. And so I took all my textbooks and she's like, no, like leave your textbooks. And I'm like, Mom, like you realize like I have homework. She's like, no, just leave it. And I was like, okay, like if you're telling me not to do my homework, okay. I was in grade 8, I think. But so I just left it. And then she brought me to the principal's office and unenrolled me from school. It was like end of September or something like that. We had only been there for like a month and I was like, what is going on? It's like, I'm in grade 8, I'm not dropping to school. Those were just like thoughts going through my head. I was just like, what on earth is going on? My parents are nuts. Like, can we just stay here? I like this place. So we left Kelowna, packed up all our stuff, like all of it. We had 2 vehicles and we had trailers behind both of them and just like went back to Brandon. And like we actually went back to our cabin because that was the only place we had. We still had that, thankfully. And we were all sitting there and I was like, can you just enroll me in school with my friends in Brandon? Like that's just what I wanted. And my brother got a call from a friend. Okay, before I say this is one of the things we were worried about was my brother, like he was really involved in hockey and it was already like the end of September. So like hockey had started, teams were kind of made already. And so we're worried about like him playing hockey and where he would play and everything. So that was one huge thing for us. We're like, what do we do about that? And so my brother got a call from a friend in Winnipeg. He had met him at the cabin and his friend thought we were still in Kelowna. And for some reason, he called him and was like, yo man, we got a spot on our hockey team for you in Winnipeg if you want, just so you know. And we're like, how does he know? Like, he doesn't know where we are. Like, what? That's just so random. For him to call when we're all just like trying to figure out our lives and like where we're gonna live and like what we're gonna do. We were all just like stressed. We were praying about it and my parents were like, okay. I asked for one in Winnipeg. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, I want to see my friends in Brandon. Anyways. So we didn't move to Winnipeg at that point. We went out there to go test out. My brother went to the tryouts for that team. First tryout, made the team. Like literally only need one tryout and they just loved him. I was like, okay. So my parents were like, okay, you're going to school here too, Sam. And I'm like, oh, great. I was so mad at my brother's friend. But I was like, where are we gonna live? So my parents found us, actually lived at my aunt's place that lived in Winnipeg. So it was like a different aunt, it was my dad's sister. And we lived there in one bedroom for like 3 weeks or something. So we were doing the same thing we did in Kelowna. We were looking for houses, we were looking for jobs for my parents, we were looking for, I don't know, just trying to figure out where we wanted to live. My parents went job hunting, found jobs right away. Went house shopping, found a house right away. My brother and I were in school and we're like, I guess we're living in Winnipeg. And we're like, why did God have to bring us all the way to Kelowna to end up in Winnipeg that was 2 hours away from Brandon, where we had lived originally. And it was just like, what the heck was God doing? I mean, later on down the road, we have found out there's more reasons why God brought us here, and we still probably don't know all the reasons, but we know a few of them, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, that was kind of like what made me think of my faith more and stuff, was my dad listening to this God up there and taking his family from like 2 provinces away, 3 provinces away. Whatever, from Manitoba to BC. And then back to Manitoba. Like, that is not easy to move provinces and to just listen to God and be like, okay, God, you got this. And just like not know what your next day will look like is faith. Like that, you have to have faith to do that, I believe. And that's what made me really like, wow, like I was just like in awe kind of what kind of God I was serving and my parents were choosing to serve. So when we had got to Winnipeg, I was really into volleyball at the time, and so I tried out for this volleyball team at my school, and I made the team and everything was going good. I was trying to make friends. I was kind of that like weird girl because I was the new girl that came in October, at the beginning of October in grade 8. So it was like, what is this girl doing? Like, who does she think she is? She's coming like a month after school started. It was just a funny time to start school in grade 8. But that's okay. So I have always been very friend orientated and like need to like be with friends and like hang out with friends. And I had like a lot of friends in Brandon, and so I came and I didn't have a ton of friends here. I mean, I had a few friends people that I liked, and so I struggled with insecurity a lot in high school with like my confidence, and everything was just like lacking, and it just wasn't there because I would like compare myself to others, and it's not healthy obviously, but that's what often like people do. Like everyone does this, not just high schoolers. Like I don't care what people say, like everyone still does this. Like especially if you're on social media, you go on social media and you see people's posts and you're like, wow, their life is so great, why is my life not like theirs? And you compare your life and theirs. But the thing is, people probably look at your Instagram and see the exact same thing. Like people choose to put their highlight reels on. It's like a highlight reel. Like you literally just see people's highlights of their life. You don't see when they're sad or angry or mad or whatever they're going through. You don't really see that. And that's just how it is. People don't post that because, I don't know, just it's not how it is, I guess. Not saying it's bad to post that. That's actually great to be vulnerable and everything. Like I'm out here posting this video right now. This is like super out of my comfort zone. But yeah, I lacked a lot of confidence, and I was just like super insecure with how I looked and wasn't really loving who I was, and I was just like super down on myself. And people would always be like, Sam, you're always so happy, you're never not smiling and all this stuff. But I'd kind of like hide behind that and just pretend that my life was great and that I wasn't struggling or anything. But that was not true. And I mean, I relate that to, you see someone in a line at Starbucks and their life looks great, they have a Gucci bag and all this stuff, and they're just like put together completely, you know, like smiling and ordering their coffee. You look at that person, you're like, wow, their life is great, but you don't know anything about what they're going through. Like So you gotta be nice to every single person. They could be smiling and hiding behind like pain or just like so much hurt inside. They could have lost a loved one. So many things could have happened. I don't know. But just because someone's smiling does not mean that their life is perfect. So I listened to lies about myself because I was so insecure. I was like, I don't have friends, no one loves me, all this stuff. Just that no one liked me and I was ugly and no one will ever love me and just all this terrible negative stuff about myself I would listen to. And it was obviously not from God. And because why would God put that like in my mind? Like, because he loves me so much and he knows my worth and he reminds me of that every single day now. But going through that, having those thoughts in your head, they feel so valid to you. You're like, my thoughts are valid. Going through that was hard because you think in your head that you're right. You're like, I am so right, no one loves me. Because you put that in your brain so much that you start to believe it yourself. And it's so unhealthy because obviously that is not true. And it's a lie. And it's not from God. So I would listen to all these lies, and then that made me put these expectations and all my trust into people. Because I was so people orientated, that's what I went to cheer me up. And I would hope that my friends could be there for me and be my solid rock and like say what I wanted them to say. And I just put too much expectations on them without them even knowing, to be honest. And so I was just relying on people to make me happy, and friends and family. And when they failed me, I felt like no one loved me, which is a lie. You cannot put all your trust in or expectations into one person or just into anything, because everyone's human. They're not perfect. They're far from perfect, actually. And they're gonna fail you no matter what. You can't put it into a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, like no one. You cannot put it into anyone, because like all your trust and all your expectations and everything, because they're gonna fail you. You gotta put it into God, because he is the only one that will fulfill that and not make you feel empty. With all that being compiled, with the lack of self-confidence, with the insecurities, with the expectations onto others being failed, with everything, just the lies in my head, I struggled with suicidal thoughts, and I never acted on any of those to go through with that, but it got to that point where I was struggling with that. And not a ton of people know about this, so this is actually crazy to be like saying this aloud to a camera, because I just told people that I felt needed to know for my own safety and were able to help me through this. It was not healthy, and it's a crappy spot to be in. I wish that upon no one. It's not great. And the people I told them because I needed help, and I needed them to, I knew that they could remind me of the truth. And I was not putting expectations on them. But I was scared to tell people, because I thought that they would just be like, oh, she's just doing this to get attention or whatever. And that is not why I'm posting this either. I'm not wanting your, oh, Sam, I feel so bad for you, because it's my life. I went through it and I had people help me. And by the grace of God, I'm here and he forgives me, and he loves me so much, and I know that now, and I do not struggle with those thoughts anymore, and I'm so thankful for that, because that was like a really hard time in my life. And I know I keep saying "and" a lot, I'm nervous. But I'm very thankful for the people that were able to be there for me and get me through. And I'm so thankful for God for reminding me of my worth, and just reminding me not to put my trust and hope and everything into people, because they will fail me. So after that, I got baptized, and got baptized because I wanted to give my whole life to God, and I wanted to publicly declare my love for Him. I wanted everyone to know that I want to live my life for God and not for anyone else. And I definitely, that did not, like, I didn't have to be perfect to get baptized, because I obviously wasn't. No one's perfect. Like I said before, I was not perfect. I wasn't this like amazing Christian that wasn't that. I just wanted to live my life for God and make that promise in front of my friends and family, and that's what I did. And my life has not been perfect since. Just because I got baptized does not mean my life is magical. Like, no, it's not at all. But I kind of just went through high school, and I still struggled with insecurities, and I still do to this day, and everything like that. I was not perfect, and yeah, I just tried to remain strong in what I believed and tried to get through that. High school wasn't really my thing, to be honest. I just everyone's like, the best 4 years of your life. I'm sorry, I'm sure that's the case for lots of people, and that's awesome, but it just wasn't the case for me. I was just trying to get by, to be honest. But I struggled in grade 12, especially with what I was going to do after. That's a lot. Like, a lot of people struggle with that. I didn't know what I was going to do after high school. I had all these ideas. I'm like, you know what? I could go on missions trips. I could go become, I don't know. I wasn't super smart. I wasn't going to be a doctor or anything. I didn't know what I was going to do. Still trying to figure it out to this day, to be honest. I am currently taking courses for dental hygiene at the U of M, and so far that's going good. We'll see. I apply in March, so I'm really hoping for good results with that. But you know what? It's all in God's hands, and I can't do anything about it. I just gotta try my best and let Him do the rest. And still trying to figure it out, because I'm human, I'm not perfect. Yeah, but it still scares me. But I just want everyone to know that you don't have to know what you're doing. Your life doesn't have to be set out or in stone and be amazing, and yeah. So with not knowing what I wanted to really do with my life, and not knowing, there's so many unknowns, because I'm not in this faculty. I love to plan my life out, and I mean, you can't do that because things are gonna change. I get anxious, and I overthink and think about worst possible case scenarios a ton, and I'm trying to work on that, and I'm learning to fully trust in God right now, and to try to be joyful even though I am in so many unknowns, especially with this COVID. You really don't know what the next day is gonna look like. You could be, I don't know. When we were locked down to our households, I wasn't expecting that. It's just crazy how many unknowns there are right now. And it can be very scary. And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way too. Like, I'm definitely not the only one. But, so I'm learning to be patient with the plans God has for me and seeing that unfold and just fully trusting in Him. Even when I get a bad grade or something, like, God's got a plan. Gotta trust that. I'm not perfect. I'm still working my way through life. This is just the beginning of my story, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of it is. I'm so thankful for my friends and my family that have been able to be a part of my story, and for God, and for Him to be my rock. And I know that everyone has a different story, and I encourage you to share your story with at least someone. I don't know, it doesn't have to be over YouTube or over social media or anything, but it can be. But you can just share it with a friend, a family member, someone. Just do it, because your story matters and your thoughts and everything matter, and what you're going through. Yeah, just because you feel like you don't have an amazing story to share with the world doesn't mean your story isn't amazing. You should just share your story, because everyone has one, obviously. We're all on this earth for a reason, so like, we go through these things. Like, I struggled with suicidal thoughts and just like insecurities and stuff like that, and I know that God put me through that for a reason, because one day I'm going to be able to be with someone that is also struggling with that, and I'm going to be able to help them through that. And because I have been through that, it'll be easier for me to help them. And maybe this story, my story, has impacted one of you and helped you. And if that's the case, please reach out to me. Also, please share your story with me. You can DM me, you can do anything. I'd love to hear your story, whoever you are, even if I don't know you very well. Definitely text me or DM me. I'd love to hear from you. So thank you guys so much for listening to my story. I really appreciate it. If this is my first video ever, I'm planning on making more content, because this is my dream since I was like, I don't know, for a long time. Like, if anyone knows me well, they know I love YouTube. I watch YouTube videos all the time, and I've wanted a YouTube channel for a long time. So if you can support me by subscribing and liking and commenting, I would love that. That'd be awesome. Because it is like my childhood dream. Like, seriously. But I hope that my story can impact at least one of you out there. And I'm praying for you all, and I love you all so much, and I'm thankful that I get the opportunity to share my story, and I encourage you to share yours too. Anyways, have a good day. Bye.